Welcome back to the Show Up or Shut Up podcast with me, Wendy Solganic. This is season 5, episode 1, and today I'm bringing you an interview with artist Cathy Nichols. I'm so happy to announce that Cathy will be joining us as a Fodder School teacher for the first time ever in Fodder School 5. Cathy is one of those artists whose work I have been drooling over for years. You can check out what her work looks like on Instagram at Cathy Nichols Art or on her website, cathynichols.com. If you don't already know Cathy, you are in for a real treat. Cathy has been a working artist for decades, selling her mixed media collage, encaustic, and acrylic paintings to art collectors through galleries in places like Los Angeles and New York. As a result of getting to know Cathy in this interview, when I think of her in the future, there will always be one word that comes up for me, and that word is brave. I think we can all learn a lot from Cathy and her artistic journey, and I'm excited for everyone listening to get to know her. Welcome to Show Up or Shut Up, a podcast about prolific makers, specifically in the world of mixed media art. I'm your host, Wendy Solganic, also known as Willa Wanders on Instagram, and I'm here to explore the ups and sometimes the downs of being a mixed media artist. I've been a maker my entire life, and I've had 4 careers involving art. In each episode, we'll talk to artists about how they became prolific makers, why they make art, and the struggles they go through. We'll talk about being an online creative, social media, and how to navigate that world if that's what you're into. Whether you're a lover of mixed media art, watercolor painting, handmade books, art journaling, fiber art, assemblage, collage, or everything all at once, I hope you'll join me on this journey of mixed media making. If you like this podcast, hit the subscribe button and leave a review. You can find me, Wendy, at willawanders.com and on Instagram at willa.wanders and at fodder.school. Welcome to the podcast, Cathy Nichols. I am thrilled to get to know you today.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Wendy. I'm so happy to be here. Really excited.
So for those of you guys listening, this is going to be no surprise at this point. Cathy is a Fodder School 5 teacher. Cathy is an artist that I have drooled over her work for the last 5 years, or maybe it's 7 years now. I don't even know. Time is going so fast, but I have been following Cathy for a very long time on Instagram. I did not know her at all, other than I knew her work. I took a risk. I reached out to her and I said, hey, Cathy, do you have any interest in being a Fodder School teacher? And Cathy, tell me what happened at that moment.
I said, yes. I actually have been following you as well. I love your art and I just love seeing all of that yummy fodder. So I would look at what you were creating and what your students were creating, the members of Fodder School, and I would think, gosh, this is so beautiful. So when you asked me, I was excited and it was really a no-brainer for me. So I'm really excited to be a Fodder School 5 teacher. And I love your whole process of creating this school and what it offers to artists. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, I totally appreciate that. So when I asked you, were you thinking right from the start, like, oh, I know that I naturally could create collage? I guess you do create a lot of collage fodder because you do a lot of layering of collage in your fine art.
Exactly. I do.
Okay. All right. But we're going to start right at the beginning because that's where I want to start with everyone. So, Cathy, where were you born?
I was born in Huntington, New York, on Long Island, the North Shore of Long Island.
I am very familiar with Huntington because back when I owned a printing company, we had one of our best customers, one of our best stores that we distributed to was in Huntington.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I just have such a soft, nostalgic spot in my heart for the whole area. So I haven't lived there in many years.
Did you live there all through childhood, all through high school?
I lived there all through high school. when I was really little, we moved around more, but still in Long Island or the area of Long Island. But I graduated from high school, from Harbor Fields High School. Same alma mater as Mariah Carey. She was in my class. That's our claim
What?
to fame. Yes, I know.
Oh, that's a big, big famous claim to fame. That's crazy. She was in your high school class?
Yeah, and honestly, it is kind of relevant because I became friends with her because we were in the same art class. We took an art class together. And she came over to me and she said, "That's really nice. What are you doing?" Because we were doing these dioramas and I was just like so into it. I was such a nerd for art. So I just was really into this diorama. So she came over and she was kind of intrigued and she wanted to see what I was doing. And then we took actually several art classes together. It's kind of cool.
So at the time, was she like the star singer in the high school?
She really wasn't known as being the star singer in the high school. In I think when she was either middle school or ninth grade, she did a performance and I went to it in the at the school and I was like, "What on earth?" She was amazing. But she didn't really do anything else. She wasn't really involved in the music program at the school. But she played her demo tape the at the end of school senior year, and she played it in the senior lounge, and everybody pretty much like flipped. It was so good. It sounded like her first album. It was
Wow.
great. Yeah. So, but we didn't know. We didn't know. It was really interesting. I mean, some people knew because we were very close with her, but most of us had no idea.
So she
Like,
wasn't
what?
like starring in the plays and doing all the
No,
choir concerts, and she
nope.
wasn't trying to get like all that attention when she was a high schooler.
She wasn't. She wasn't. Not for the high school. She probably was doing things out of high school, but we had no clue. We were just like complete, like out of it. We had no idea. Yeah,
Wow.
we didn't know. But we knew when she played her demo tape. We were like, oh, she'll be famous. It was
She's
obvious.
going to be a megastar.
Totally. Yes. So I met Mariah during my art class.
I think that's beyond meeting her. I think you could say you were friends in high school.
We were friends for some of high school. We'll just leave it at that. God.
Obviously, you were in high school and you were very attracted to art. At what age did you know you loved making stuff?
Oh, I love that question. Oh my gosh. I always knew I loved making stuff. I just didn't know it was different in any way. Like I just thought everybody must love doing this. And probably little kids really do. Most little kids really do. But I was, oh no. And yeah, I do know because I went to summer camp and it was like a sports summer camp. I was not sporty, Wendy. No, I was very unsporty. So my mom, I don't know why she did this to me. She sent me to a sports summer camp. And the only classes that I liked to take were the art classes. I would just basically hope that the sports classes never happened. So then I was like, wait, I love everything artsy. I even like dance classes, anything that was sort of artsy, I loved. Then later on, when I was in high school, I had a high school teacher who told me to try out for this art scholarship, which was a separate school that was like that taught drawing, life drawing, oil painting, and sculpture. So I did get the scholarship. Yay!
Really? Like, what is that? Does that mean that you went to an arts high school after that?
No, I didn't go to an arts high school. It was this amazing program that was in Huntington, actually. And the teacher, the guy who founded it, was this wonderful sculptor. And he just created the school for high school kids. And we would just go after school. We would go 2 days a week during the week, and then on Saturdays, a lot of Saturday. But so I did have a lot of art training when I was in high school going to these classes, and he was amazing because he also helped us with like art portfolios to go to college. And he had teachers that would come in from Cooper Union to teach us as well. So I was so lucky and it was so much fun. I loved it.
Wow, that's an incredible high school art experience.
It was. I was really, really lucky to have that experience. I know a lot of kids don't get to be even exposed really too much to art these days. So it was really cool.
Do you still
Yeah.
have any of the projects that you made when you were in high school?
Oh, that's such a good question. I have photos of the sculptures. I don't know what happened to them because we moved a lot after high school. But I do have photos, but I don't think I have the actual paintings or drawings. Unfortunately, I have them inside my memory, but I don't have them physically. unfortunately. But they are a lot. So it was life drawing. So it was a lot of nude models, which was
Wow.
sort of like risque when you were in high school. It was interesting, especially when I first went for that scholarship. I think that's kind of why I got the scholarship because I was so kind of in shock. I didn't know I'd be painting a nude person. Like I just didn't know. No idea. And all of a sudden, this nude woman comes out, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I think I just was sort of like so in shock about that that I was not like second guessing my drawing and my painting. So I think it worked out in my favor. I was less nervous. Yeah.
That's funny. We just over the weekend went to hear my son in a band competition at another high school.
Ooh.
And the other high school is the largest school system, I think, possibly in the state of Ohio. I'm not sure. But they have a whole entire building on their high school campus just for the arts. I was
Ooh.
completely blown away, like a gigantic theater, like gigantic and state of the art everything. And in the hallways of the building, the art center building, they had all of this fine art, like drawings and paintings from the painters and the art students, the fine art students. And I looked at them and I was like, I cannot believe this is coming out of a high school. It was
Yeah.
so amazing. I was like, I would buy this. These paintings are interesting. Like,
I love that.
it was amazing. I'm like so impressed with high schoolers. Way, way, way better artists than I've ever been. And they're just in high school. So, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
sad that school systems don't invest like they used to in the arts because art is
Yeah.
the future. It's crazy.
It is. It is. And also just like a lot of what I love so much, well, when I talked to you about Fodder School, and what really appealed to me, made me want to be a teacher, is the fact that you talk about art as a way of just being in the flow and calming your nervous system and just feeling peaceful. I think it's so valuable as that, you know?
I
Like
totally agree.
we all need more mental health that is really non-pharmaceutical. Like, and it's a very peaceful thing to do that makes you feel good. I love that too.
Yes,
Yeah.
non-pharmaceutical,
Yep.
non-chemical addictive, non-alcoholic,
Yeah.
non-drug it's
Hmm.
like we all need to calm our nervous system, and art is a superior way to do that.
Really is. It is. I'm really getting into that concept lately myself.
So tell me what happened your senior year in high school as far as you deciding where you were gonna go next since you were clearly in love with art.
Yeah, this is so, I'm sure that this is an important question for every artist because most of us as artists, it doesn't matter what age we are, it doesn't matter what level of success we're at. If we felt like artists when we were in high school, we came to that crossroads like, are we going to go to art school or are we going to not? And it's almost like this call to adventure or not, like the hero's journey. And I we couldn't decide. So I applied to a bunch of art schools and I also applied to like liberal arts. And ultimately, I decided not to go to art school. And it wasn't because I didn't feel like I was an artist. It was because I didn't think I could make money as an artist. I know this is a classic answer.
It's
Um,
literally everyone's
I
story.
know,
It's why I love
I
doing
know,
these podcast episodes because we all have so much in common.
I know. It's crazy. And I still remember the conversation with my mom, and she was sitting there and she's like, honey, I just want you to be happy. You can do whatever you want. The only thing is, I just feel like you're not going to have as many opportunities if you go to art school. You're not going to make a living doing that. She told me I wasn't going to make a living as an artist, probably for most of my life until I really was. And I was like, hey, guess what? So now
You-
she says she's so sorry. She's like, I was so wrong, which let me tell you, she never says. So that was that was really a miracle.
So
Um,
accepting that your parents are human beings who are
yes.
flawed and also doing the best that they can. And that when they were telling you whatever bogus stuff they were telling you,
Yeah.
they had your best interests at heart. But that was like with the information that they had and the life that they had.
I don't regret it at all, actually. And I really don't. I didn't go to art school, but I was able still to take a lot of art classes.
Okay, so
It
where did
was
you go to college and what did you actually major in?
I went to University of Michigan. I majored in Ann Arbor. I majored in English. Okay, let me tell you, very saleable. Then ready to make my fortune. Then I have a master's degree too from Colorado State in literature. So I continued to study languages and literature. And oh gosh, I'm going to get off track and talk about why I ended up studying literature, but it wasn't purposeful. I do kind of want to go to that because it's weird that I studied English and then I studied literature again when that wasn't really what I wanted to do for my graduate program. I went to graduate school, and when I got to the program, they said, okay, you're the only person enrolled in the teaching program. I wanted to be a teacher, which is what I ended up being, because I'm teaching art classes now. So I want to be a teacher, but they're like, you're the only one in the program. Everybody else is in the literature program. And I looked around and I said, are you kidding me? What am I supposed to do? Learn by myself? So I transferred to literature
You had applied to that school to
for
be
teaching.
in the teaching program, and you
Yeah.
show up and they're like, "You're the only grad student in the whole program."
Yeah. Yes, this is a Colorado State. So it's not like it was a tiny little school. I'm like, what do you mean I'm the only one here? I said, that's just silly. And I was a teaching assistant. So I was teaching also, but I wanted to be with other people. So I switched to literature. I'm really glad I did. And it still informs so much of the way that I think about art, interestingly. I mean, I put a lot of text into my mixed media, and I'm always thinking about story. Like, what's the story here? What are we talking about in this painting? And so that's like an ongoing theme. So I think it kind of gets woven back into my artwork that I'm making. And that's why I don't regret not going to art school. But it was a little bit sad briefly, you know. I
So
kind of
what kind of literature were you studying in the program?
English and American. I was very interested in postmodern literature. That was my where I wrote my master's thesis on. I wrote it on Infinite Jest, David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest, actually.
Foster Wallace, the guy who did the thing about swimming in the water and you don't realize you're swimming in the water? Is that guy?
I'm not sure, but he probably would have. It sounds like something he would write. They made a movie about him recently. Oh God, I don't know. Conversation
He
with David
did
Foster
he
Wallace?
commit suicide?
Yeah, he did. He
Oh, it's
did.
him. It's him.
He
Yeah.
was still alive when I wrote about him.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. It was I loved that book, Infinite Jest. I thought he was a great writer. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how many years was your master's program?
It was 2 years actually there, and then I was supposed to finish it, but I didn't finish the master's thesis/project. Like, I didn't finish it. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, and that project is kind of really relevant to art as well because I kept going back to art-related things. Even though I was studying literature, I did this whole project that I thought I was gonna create as the thesis on quilts. American quilts and stories that women hid in their quilts or
You
put
know,
into their quilts.
that is so interesting. It's like you can't escape the
No.
being drawn to craftsmanship and doing things with your hands and being
Mhm.
attracted to handmade objects and items.
Yes. And the color
Yeah.
and also iconography. I was really interested in that as well. And it relates to the quilting thing too. Like, what is the secret language that people are using in their quilts? And also, like, what do we as artists, what is our iconography? What is our language that we're using to communicate? Because I feel like artists have that, this visual language. And they have different, each artist has different like subjects that they go back to, and they become a language in and of themselves. Like, if you look at that artist's work, I was interested in the connection between art and language all the time, but I didn't write about the quilts. I ended up writing about David Foster Wallace because I loved his book. It was beautiful.
Wow.
I left after 2 years because I just had to have a job, and I just couldn't sit there writing all the time as much as I would have liked to. And I boldly went to New York City. I didn't have any family that still lived there. So I found an apartment that a friend had. He was giving it up. It was this little room in a loft. So I had my own room. And then I got a job in PR because I was kind of a writer. So I did that. And then 2 years later, I just felt like this is not the life I want to be leading. I don't want to be pimping out electronics products and writing press releases. I felt like it wasn't my life. And I quit my job and I went back to Colorado and I finished the master's degree. Yay. I did it.
Was this in the 90s at this point?
It was in, yeah, very late like 1998.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you go back now this whole time, Michigan, Colorado, New York, do you have any art practice of your own?
That's such a good question, Wendy. Oh my gosh. Yes. So I did sketching, like that was my way, and drawing. Mostly I drew in charcoal, which is so different from what I'm doing now. I did charcoal drawings. I was always doing people. I went to the Art Students League in New York. That was like my favorite thing to do on Saturday mornings. They had those life drawing classes there. So I would go there every Saturday. So I kept up my art.
What school is the Art Students League at?
It's its own thing. It's called the Art Students League of New York, and it's Robert Henri, I think, was one of the professors, or he started it. It's really old, and they have. I only went to the life drawing classes, so I don't know if they have classes that are not open to the public or if they're all open to the public. And it's just sort of a place where art students in Manhattan can go and take classes. But I took the life drawing classes there. So I always kept that up. And my other so I did that while I was in New York, and then I did my sketching just for fun, just for me. Like in my downtime from work, I would relax by drawing.
Did you
And
draw in sketchbooks? Did you like what kind of drawing were you doing?
I was doing I was doing charcoal drawings, and they were usually of people. I would just get a photo and I would just draw the photo. And I would do it in charcoal, and I would also use white charcoal. So it was black and white, which is so funny, right? Because my art is so colorful now. This is actually it gets to be a good story because I'll talk about color, how I found color, but I'll wait till you get to that point. But yes, right now in the 90s, I'm doing like black and white
Well,
charcoal.
this makes sense to me because both of my older kids, I have 2 girls and then I have a boy, and my girls are very artsy craftsy, and they
Hmm.
both do a lot of black and white drawings of people from photos. Like
Yeah.
that's like they spend countless hours doing this, and I've never been someone who's been like interested in doing that, but like they're both really into that, and it's like a hobby for them.
I love that. I used to, before, like, this was so long ago. So, like, kind of before people were talking about the flow and talking about art practice in this way, I remember going to the Art Students League and taking these charcoal drawing classes. And because we would do charcoal, sometimes watercolor. And I would be like, this is like meditation. That's how it felt. And I bet your kids feel that way too. Like, it's this
Yes.
meditative, relaxing thing where they can just let go of stress and draw from a photo and use black and white. It's just so soothing. Something about it really is.
Well, you just get lost in the flow and you all of
Mhm,
your crazy monkey mind thoughts just go
mhm.
away.
They do. They do. It's so wonderful. I'm glad they have that.
They've got a lot of artistic things going on, but that's definitely a mainstay for both of them.
Aw.
So you go back to Colorado, you get your degree, you finally get
Mhm,
your master's, and then
mhm.
what happened?
Well, then the breakthroughs start because, okay, I've got the master's degree. It nearly killed me to finish that thing too, but I did it. And I had this friend, I don't even know if I should say. Well, he was kind of like a friend slash boyfriend. So he lived in Venice, California, and it was 4th of July weekend. And he's like, why don't you just come out here? You don't have anything to do. You should just come here to California. I was like, you know what? That sounds so great. So I just bought this plane ticket and went to California for 4th of July. And the reason it's relevant is because he said, let's do some painting. And he's not an artist. He's a writer, and he also does video. He worked at a video production company. So he's artistic though. But so he had these like big plywood pieces, and he took out all these acrylic colored paints. And I had never used acrylics in my life. I never had. And he's like, let's paint portraits of each other. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so fun. Let's do that. So I was so happy playing with all these colors and like painting this portrait of him, and he did one of me. And I thought my mind just kind of blew open at the color, the use of color. And then I decided, let's just skip ahead to that. I decided to move to Venice, California, because I think I felt so creative when I was there and so inspired by painting. I didn't go to Venice to be an artist. I just knew I had to go there. It was like, I just feel like I always make these decisions based on my intuition and I kind of follow them. So there was no job. I'm like, okay, I'll move to Venice. This sounds good.
So what
So
year
that
did you
this was 1999,
move to Venice?
like the very beginning.
And you had no job, but you knew a guy.
I knew a
Did
guy.
did
Yes.
he let you move in with him, or did you just take whatever savings you have and rent an apartment?
No, I did not have enough savings. And I I was engaged to him. But I just this every time I tell this story, people are like, "Oh, did you guys get married? That's such a great love story." But we didn't. But we did get engaged. He did ask me to marry him on the trip. How cute is that? It was really cute.
Oh, so you move with, which is good because
Yeah, well,
then you could, like, actually find something to do there, and there's a lot to do there.
there's a lot to do there. So I moved in with him. I What did I do? Well, I tried to figure out what I wanted to do, but nothing really seemed quite right, and including him. So I did, no offense to him if he ever listens to this, but so I broke up with him. I just wanted to find Kathy. I wanted to know what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to be with somebody who he wasn't telling me what to be, but I knew I had to be by myself. And so I really struggled and tried to figure out what I wanted to do and like would I be an artist or would I be something else? I went to hairdressing school. I'm a beauty school dropout. And
Which one did you go to?
it was the Culver City Beauty Academy. I remember the
Okay,
name.
because they
I
have
did.
Vidal Sassoon in LA, which is really big.
They do. I considered that program. But the one at Culver City was so quaint and adorable. It was like something from the 50s. I was like, I love this place. So
That
I
is so
start
cute. I wanna tell you, I always wanted to do that. That was what my like, when I was a little kid, that was what I desperately wanted to do, is I wanted to, like, cut people's hair and, like, blow it dry and, like, do hairstyles, and my mother told me I wasn't allowed. It
oh
just
my God.
it wasn't, like,
Of course. I
it didn't meet
understand.
my mother's, like, standards of, like, what I could do, and I was just like, "This is what I love doing." I knew I loved working with my hands.
Yeah, it's same. Yeah, you knew. Same. I felt the same. I'm like, I want to do something with my hands. I want to make people beautiful. I want to make something beautiful that I'm
Yes, I wanna
creating.
make something beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I did hairdressing. I feel like now like every story is like I was a dropout of that. But I wasn't. See, I was a beauty school dropout though. And I because then they started doing the relaxer and I thought I would throw up. It was so much chemicals and I
Oh,
just
the smell?
the smell. And I just felt like, okay, Kathy, you have a master's degree. Okay. Stop this. Just because you can't, I was saying, not that there's anything wrong with hairdressing, but because I can't stand school anymore. It's like, stop the school already.
Okay.
This isn't what you should do. It just felt like the wrong thing. So I stopped doing that. And of course, I'm like in the pit of despair here. Like, what am I going to do? I've dropped out of hairdressing school. And then I also was a teacher. I also I taught at East LA College. So I did use my master's degree. And I did really love that. I taught English. So
Okay. Alright.
yeah.
So did you
Uh,
stay living in Venice? Just so
mhm.
everybody knows, I lived in LA for 9 years. So when Cathy talks about living in Venice and living in LA, it's like my old neighborhood. So did you stay
Yeah.
in Venice or did you move somewhere else?
I stayed in Venice. I stayed there. I got a little apartment. I stayed in Venice. I made ends meet. I got jobs. I taught East LA College. I actually taught for the College Board, not taught, I graded the GREs. So I did use my master's degree and I considered going back to school for teaching to actually be a teacher because that was my initial idea. And then I got on the sidetrack. And I also thought maybe I'll go to law school. Like I was just so tired of being poor. I'm like, I have to do one of these things. And then
What made you think about law school?
well, I'm from New York. I don't I don't know what else to say. Like they kind of just drill it into you. Like
They do
everyone I
just
knew was
drill it
doing
into you.
Kaplan. So yes, I didn't have any real interest in going to law school. It was just something that I thought I should do. I should have a profession.
You know I went to UCLA School of Law.
Oh my God,
Know
that's
that?
right.
Yeah, that
I
was because I thought I
forgot.
had to, because they
Oh
drill
my
it into you.
God. We have so much in common. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. So wait, I should you ask more questions or should I just tell you what happened?
Just keep going. I'm on
Okay.
the edge of my seat, Kathy.
so so anyway, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go to law school. I'm gonna go to teaching. I'm gonna do one of these things. I can't be poor. I can't do it anymore. I need to have some clarity in my life. I need a stable job. So I get all the law school applications and I'm like, oh, I'll also apply to be a teacher. Like I'm not leaving any stone unturned. And I have all the applications ready. I have a little computer. I'm like going to fill out the applications. And I thought, when you have those applications, you remember applying to law school and like the LSAT and the horror of all that. And I had all that in front of me. I thought, I'm just going to sit down for a moment on the couch. I'm just going to sit down on the couch because it's making me a little overwhelmed. And I realized I was at a crossroad because I was about to put a lot of effort and time into going back to school. Thought I would be successful at it, but I really had to make sure that I wasn't going to give that up. I didn't want to give up on whatever I was going to commit to. And so something inside my mind clicked and I asked myself, okay, if you're not going to give up on something and you could pick anything to not give up on, because you have to make this commitment now, what would it be? And the answer was, it just came to me, I'm going to be an artist. It really was sitting on that couch. And I decided I was in that moment. I literally decided I'm going to be an artist. That's truly what I want to do. And all of this other stuff was just noise and confusion. I did commit in the moment to doing it. I also committed in my mind. I'm like, well, I guess that idea of having a stable income is out then because I'll never make any money. I also said to myself, I'll be poor. Everyone says you're going to be poor if you're an artist. So I'm going to commit to that. But I also committed to working as hard as I possibly could, just as hard as I was going to work in law school or filling out the applications for law school or as a teacher, because none of those things are easy either. So I decided I would be an artist in that moment. And I went to the art store and bought a 4x4 foot canvas and put it up on my wall. And I painted a huge painting. That was what I did to start. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. It's weird.
It's not weird at all. It's incredibly brave. So we basically
Oh,
like had these parallel
oh,
psychic experiences
oh, I love
where
that.
it's like there's some part of us that is saying like you just don't want to be poor.
Right.
And then there's this other part of us that's like, but you want to be an artist.
Yep.
And then you took the bravest route of all and you
Mm,
said, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to accept that I might be poor. I
mm-hmm.
might actually be poor, but I'm going to go with what I know I want to do, which is create.
Yes. And I really created just so from my heart. I did. It was just, I felt really free. And I felt like this is it. I'm putting it on the line. I'm going to go for it. I really did. And I also just so, for other people that are listening who might also feel this way, one, it was really empowering to make the decision. And also it was helpful to have a sketchbook. So I had an art journal that I started. The same day that I got that giant painting, I also bought an art journal, like a smaller one, not 4x4, just an art journal. And I did watercolor and colored pencil, water soluble pencil drawings. And I filled up that whole art journal with I'm like, they're not going to be great, but they were from my imagination. I did this stuff that I just kept drawing, like almost like doodling and then putting them all through all the pages. And it was really helpful because then that art journal became the basis for the bigger paintings. That's how it started.
And at the time, were you still working teaching in East LA or what, how, I mean, even though you're painting and I get it, you're willing to be poor, you still have to pay your rent and buy food. So
Yeah.
what were you doing to actually pay your rent?
Yeah. I'm just gonna make something up really bad, but no, it wasn't bad at all. I was working as a teacher. I was teaching in East LA,
Okay.
and I worked for the GRE also.
So you do
Yeah,
actually have a day job.
income definitely. Oh
Yeah.
my
Okay.
gosh,
You have a day job and you're like, I'm going to paint at night and on the weekend.
absolutely yes. But my day job, I also, yeah, the day job didn't make much money. I mean, the GRE grading made more money than the teaching. The teaching was like it was barely anything. So yes, but I had money for groceries to pay the rent. I had stable income that I knew I had. So that was very important. Yeah. I wasn't just not, I wasn't just like hoping that I'd sell stuff from my journal on the street in Venice.
Right.
Yeah.
Which some people do, by
They
the way.
do. They do. They put roller skates on and be like, please buy this. I mean, I didn't get to that point, but who knows? Roller skates.
The roller skaters. Okay.
Yeah.
So then tell me what happens with your art at this point.
Oh gosh. Well, so the paintings, the bigger paintings that came from the sketchbook. So some interesting things happened. So I started doing these sketches in my journal, and then I was like, you know what? I need models because these people are too. These are from my imagination, and they're not really realistic enough for me to want to paint them. Like I wanted actual people to be fulfilling whatever it was I was imagining in these little sketches. So I got people to be models for me. I can't believe I did this. I didn't pay them. They were people I knew. Like I asked my neighbor, my best friend, and I had them like one girl and a guy. I had them like go to Venice Beach and do this whole story like as a couple. And I took pictures and I used the pictures for the painting. And then I made this all these paintings from these photos that I took. It was really analog, I guess, the whole system, right? I wasn't using like clip art or anything like I had real people I was photographing. And what happened was I had a bunch of paintings. And my mom, who had told me, you can't make any money as an artist, she came to visit me in Venice and came with her friend and they saw my paintings and they're like, wow, you've really been busy at this. As they were walking through this, Venice, Abbot Kinney in Venice, they saw 10 Women Venice, which I don't know if you've been there, but it was an art gallery, it's a co-op.
I know
Oh,
exactly what that is.
oh
'Cause
my
I
gosh.
think I knew people who were in it.
I bet you did, right?
Yes.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh. I love that. So my mom told the people that her daughter was an artist and they said, okay, have her apply. So she comes home. She's like, you're going to apply to this. I was like, no, I can't. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. That's so scary. So I did apply and I did get into it. I got into the co op and that's how I started selling my work right
So
there.
you were sold in 10 women.
Oh, yes. I was there for several years. Yes.
Okay, that is so crazy. I'm positive that I knew other women who were a part of that because I
I
remember
love that.
getting information and considering like, could I support myself? Like, could I become a part of 10 women?
Oh my God.
Because at the time I wanted to be a potter because I was making, when I lived in LA, I made a lot of pottery
Uh huh.
in Santa Monica. And I was like, okay, I was considering like, how could I actually make money doing this? And I was like, I wonder if I could like make enough money to live on. And I was like, oh no, I don't think anybody's making enough money to live on.
Oh my gosh. We could have met each other in Venice. We could have been in 10 Women. Oh,
Who knows? Did you ever remember like this place on Santa Monica Boulevard called the Clay House?
I think so.
That was where I made pottery.
Oh my God. That's so cool.
Crazy,
Just for two
crazy.
ships
Okay.
that pass. Yes.
So now you have paintings that are going into 10 women.
Yes.
It's such
I
a
was
cool concept. You know what?
it.
Before we move on from this, because honestly, this is a concept that should exist in every city. So explain the
Yes.
concept.
I will. And I 100%, 100,000% agree with you. The concept is that it's a co op. So a group of artists work together, they pay the rent together. So you set it up as a certain type of corporation or an LLC, and it's a nonprofit. It's set up as a nonprofit, like the basic shell of this company. And then everyone who is an artist pays for a space in there, and they also have to do shifts to work there. And you get 100% of your profits, but you have to work and you have to pay for your space. So, say the rent was $200 a month for my space. I would have to, I mean, I could, pay that without selling stuff, but ideally you would sell enough art that you would cover your rent and more than that. But you keep all of the money. So and we took turns also being manager, which was cool.
Oh, that's cool. So this
Yes.
does exist. I know because one of the other Fodder School 5 teachers is part of a co-op in another city.
Yeah.
We
It's
had
unusual though.
we have a we do have a version actually not far from where I live in Cleveland that is a cooperative art gallery. It's like Venice is really the perfect place to do it. So explain how many people were coming in and out of this gallery on a daily basis.
Ooh, I mean, it was pretty busy, but it wasn't like crazy. I can't remember how many, but there were definitely people because it was on Abbot Kinney, which was such a
Yeah.
hip street. So, and then we had a really cool deli type thing right next door. So people would come in from there. So we did get a lot of foot traffic and it was in a very artsy area and a high, and it got to be a very expensive street as well, as you know, but it didn't start out that way, but it definitely got that way. So, so this is also encouraging too. it took a long time to sell the first thing. But for some reason, once I sold the first thing, I kept continually selling more and more. And it opened up a lot of doors for me, Wendy. It truly did a lot being in that co-op.
All right, so
Um,
tell that story. Like, what happens to your life at that point?
well, it made me feel really happy because I met a lot of other artists. That was another beautiful thing. Like Marisa from Creative Thursday was there with me at the same time. Also, Melissa Moss, who's one of my best friends, and just other artists that I got to know. And we did a lot of fun things together. So that was lovely to have an art community. It was also really great to have more income, from selling my art and other things that happened. So also you would kind of get your art. Oh, this is fun. I did sell a piece of art to Owen Wilson because he came into the gallery, and to Julia Roberts. I mean, they lived in LA. So they bought my art, and Julia Butterfly Hill, who lived in a tree, to save the tree. So a lot of people bought the art that were in like show business, I guess, in LA. And since so many people came to that area, Abbot Kinney was so trendy, I ended up getting later on in life, not at that particular time, but I got a great licensing deal from someone who came into my gallery, the wife of the CEO. And she fell in love with my art. And it was like 5 years later, they offered me a licensing deal. It was Sherpani handbags, which was amazing.
Wow.
Doors opened. Yeah, doors opened. Like when you put yourself out there, doors do open. That's one thing that happens. Yeah.
That is so cool. So how many years were you involved in 10 Women?
Feel like high five. I'm guessing though. I don't remember, but it feels like, no, maybe four, maybe four. Yeah, that sounds better.
And the
About
whole
four.
time, were you also teaching or doing the GRE grading?
I was doing the GRE grading, I was teaching, and I also had another job. I worked as a medical secretary, but only part-time. So I just worked a little bit there too because I was fast typist.
So were
Yeah.
you was it a very happy time in your life?
Yeah, it was. It was. I loved it. I loved my friends who are artists. I love these very low pressure jobs. I did stop teaching ultimately in East LA. So I was just I called it the cherry desk job, that the medical secretary job. I was doing my cherry desk job, and I was also doing the GRE grading, which I did from home. So I was so happy because I organized my life where I had these low pressure jobs so that I could really focus on creating art as my passion. Yeah, I didn't have a serious job. I wasn't going to take a job that would force me to work Saturdays or work nights. No,
Or
it
use
had
too
to.
much of your mental energy so
Yeah,
that you didn't have a mental energy to make art?
exactly. I specifically chose to take these sort of low stress jobs, and they were low pay as well.
I mean, I think that this is an option. Like that was one of the options that I considered. So when I was making pottery at the clay house, I was looking at what are all my options. And
Yeah,
I saw that there were people who were very dedicated to making pottery and they had day jobs.
yeah.
And this is kind of funny, but I was like, I didn't even want the day job. Like I just want to make pottery all
Oh,
the time.
oh,
And I was
yeah.
like, I can't even I couldn't imagine being away from the studio for 40 hours a week
Oh
doing
my
the
God.
day job, doing the day. And then there were many people doing that. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just such a maximalist sometimes.
Oh my gosh, I can so see that, Wendy. Oh my goodness, I can see it. I'm dying to know more about that. But
So, okay. So 5 years at 10 Women. And then what happens?
and then I, well, I fell in love and I got married to someone who lived in New York, who's French guy. And I moved to New York City. I really liked him. And then he came to visit, and then we started dating, and then I moved to New York. That was a different time. I still did my art because when I got to New York, he created I remember he had an apartment, and he put a wall up between the living room. There was a big living room, so he blocked off the living room, and so I could have a studio. So I had an art studio, a little tiny art studio. And then I had a baby, and that was her nursery and my art studio. It was a combo. I did not use toxic paint, but yeah. So she got to be in there. my little girl.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
cool.
so first of all, what was the French man doing in New York?
He was selling real estate.
Okay, that's a good job.
Yeah, that was a good job. He was selling real estate and he always wanted to travel and he just really liked New York and liked the US. So he was there just working.
So
And
did you like living in New York as opposed to Venice Beach, California?
I really miss Venice. I mean, who wouldn't? So
Who
I
wouldn't?
did miss it, but it was a very interesting change in lifestyle. I mean, it was really weird for me to be in this suddenly. I was kind of in this Upper East Side lifestyle out of the blue. Like it wasn't my experience as a child to be in that world.
Oh, and also you were closer to family, probably.
No, they had moved. I had some family, but they were distant. Like my mom had followed me to California. So she lived in California. So, and my dad was in upstate New York, so he wasn't there. But yeah, there was no family there. It was just me and my family, my new
A
family, I
new
guess.
family.
Yeah, my new family. But he's my ex-husband now. You have to just keep qualifying. They just keep getting put in the dustbin, right? So he was very supportive though of my art. He really liked it. And that was nice. Really
Well, that
nice.
was like quite a change because it sounds like he could have had some stable income.
Oh yes, that was helpful. He
Yeah,
did
and
have
then
that.
you were like you could be a mother and you could be an artist without the pressure of like earning the income from that.
Yes, I could. It's all very interesting though, because I could be an artist without the pressure of having the income. However, it's hard to be an artist, like I said, with the other person I was engaged to, like when you can't fully be yourself, like when you're not free. That's how I felt, at least.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna
It
have to
is.
meditate on that.
Yeah, it is actually. This is just how it worked out for me. We did get divorced. So, and once he and I got divorced, I really had no income because I was used to his income, like as often is the case. That is the time, strangely enough, like I briefly worked at another job and I didn't have any time to paint. I was getting up at 5 in the morning to do art. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention something very important. So I didn't give up doing art. I was married. I still painted. When my kids would go to sleep, I had two babies. They were almost the same age. They're like 18 months apart. I would still do art when they were sleeping, nap art.
Yes.
And yes, and I did have an online shop. I did an Etsy shop and I had a blog that I did. And so I was able to continue doing art. Oh, and then when I was getting divorced, but I should tell you this part first. So I also started another co op. I should mention this. This is kind of a big thing. So I started an art co op in New York.
Oh, that's a
And
big deal.
yeah, it was. And it was modeled on 10 women because it was such a transformative experience to me. For me, it was so empowering to be in this co op with all these other artists where we were not giving our profits to, the man or the landlord or the gallery. We were keeping them ourselves. So that was really empowering. So when we moved to Long Island. So we moved back. I moved back. And I met this lovely woman named Kate Sidney. She was a jeweler. She was younger than me and she worked at the coffee shop. And the coffee shop was showing my art on the wall. And we had this cup of coffee and we talked about starting our own gallery. We literally had a conversation and we did it. That was it.
Whoa. After one
Yeah.
conversation, and she was working at a coffee shop and
And she's a
she was a
jeweler.
jeweler. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was like, this sounds
Yeah.
really good.
We both were so in agreement that our mutual enthusiasm, I think, allowed it to happen really fast. And we found a space in Northport on Main Street and we rented it and we started to look for artists and we got there. I don't know where we looked for them. Do we put an ad out or Facebook, something? And we got all these artists submitting their work to us and we just picked the ones we liked. We invited them to be in our co-op and we had this gallery and it was seriously wonderful. And it's still there.
Whoa. What is it called?
It's called the Firefly Artist, the same thing we called it. It's
That's
in Northport.
incredible.
I know. It's beautiful. It was beautiful. And it's even gotten cooler now than it was then. It's gotten better, not worse. So I'm not there anymore, but Kate is. And
So this is so incredible. What approximately what year is this?
I'm trying to think. So, or 12. probably maybe 11,
Okay,
something
so
around
at this
them.
point, your
Maybe
kids are
11.
not babies anymore.
Well, they were pretty small. They're not infants though. But Annabelle was she was maybe 4 or 5, and Nick was like 2. So yeah, they were still babies.
Oh, they were still really young. Okay, and at
Yeah,
this
yeah.
point, are
So
you
maybe I'm
living
no,
on
that's
Long
right.
Island?
Yeah, we moved to Long Island when Nick, my son, was born. With my French husband. He and I moved to Long Island. We were still married when I started this co-op. Yes. But I was getting divorced. Tragically. It was really hard. But I was getting a divorce and we still started this at the same time. And Kate was amazing. She was really,
Wow.
really great. Yeah. But we started it and it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful flowering of this artistic community. It was. I
That
loved
is
the
a
Firefly.
dream.
It was
That is
such a
a dream.
dream. And we'd have parties too. It felt like a dream. This is also a really happy time. Like we would have lovely parties and just it was a very joyful place. We'd decorate the windows really in really pretty way. It just felt really good. And then when I did get divorced, that is when I decided, well, something good happened, which I didn't mention. I did mention it, but when I got divorced is when, believe it or not, I had no income and I decided to be an artist full time. Am I crazy?
Well, at
I
this point, you do have a track record of
Yeah,
selling art, and you've been
definitely.
involved in multiple cooperative galleries.
Yeah. And I was also represented by a gallery too. And that was interesting. That was a whole different world and different story, but I did sell my art. Like I had been selling it, like you said, I had a track record. I had the licensing deal. That was the other amazing thing. As I was getting divorced, that's when Sherpani called me. I'm like, wow,
So
this couldn't come at a better time.
So what that means is like your work had a surface design
Uh,
appeal to it as well. It wasn't just fine art. Like they could reproduce it on products.
yeah. Yeah.
At the
Did.
time, did your artwork look anything like it looks now?
I don't think so. I mean, a little bit. It had some collage elements to it, but I did encaustic painting then. So it was
Oh
a,
my gosh. Okay, I want to see this encaustic.
I'll show you. Yeah.
Oh my
That was
god.
my main medium.
Really? Okay, wait, where but you needed like you need so when you moved to Long Island, did you move to a place where you actually had a studio?
No, I didn't have a studio on Long Island. I had a nice house though, and I had a really nice studio on the front porch, like one of those porches with windows and stuff. I had a studio in there.
Oh,
That
so
was when
you
I was
did. You
married.
did have a studio on Long Island.
Right. Oh, I
In your
didn't
home.
have one in like a special place. It was in
Oh,
my house
I
though.
just meant like in your home or somewhere else, but you had an art space that was
I
dedicated
did. I
to your
did
art
have
space.
that.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you were doing caustics with collage.
I was. Yes. Go
Were
ahead.
were you using colored wax or were you using just clear wax?
Colored.
Oh
And
gosh,
so
I really want to see it. Okay.
it was really cool. I guess they were cool. I even had an art studio when I got divorced and I had to get a rental. It was just so lucky. I found this house that was by the beach and it was somehow affordable. Well, it was kind of falling apart a little bit, but it had 4 bedrooms. It was crazy. So I got to use one for my art studio. So I was really lucky. Such lucky things.
Wow. But you had
Yeah.
little kids
Uh huh. They were little. It
and
was
you're
cute.
trying to make it as an
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah. It was crazy.
But
And
am I correct that you got some kind of supplementary income because you had been married?
I didn't. Wendy, I got nothing. I haven't gotten one. Now I'm going to become the bitter divorce woman. But no, I have had no child support. He left the country.
My mouth is
Yep.
now on the floor.
Oh, I know. Let me tell you, it was really hard. And what did supplement me, what allowed me to not only be an artist but actually survive truly was that I got a licensing deal with Sherpani. So
I
they put
don't
my
know what
art.
that is. Is that
I
like a
know
high-end something?
they're beautiful. They're sporty. They have these bags are in REI. They're like in every REI in the
How do you
country
spell
and
it?
international. Sherpani, Sherpani. So they're very cool, sporty handbags and luggage they do as well, backpacks. And they decided they were going to do a featured artist of the year. And I was their first one. So like I had that income. I also got a job, but I didn't keep it for much long. I only kept it for a year, maybe 2.
So they were turning your designs into fabric that they were making into bags.
They had the bags and then they would do like a panel in the front,
Yeah.
like a pocket That would be my
Yeah.
art. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh my God.
I've never heard of these, but I would totally like I mostly wear Orla Kylie bags,
Oh, pretty.
but these are so cool. These are sporty and designery.
Yeah. And they were adorable bags, very well made. And it was a true godsend, honestly, like a dream come true to get that deal. That came initially from the wife of the Sherpani CEO who saw my art at 10 Women. That's where that came from.
Wow.
Yeah. So that allowed me to, it really allowed me to live. That was the thing. So I could still create my art, but I had that income that came through so that I could work full. So I had the other job. That was really complicated. Like I felt like I had to have a job because I didn't know what would happen. I also had the Sherpani income, but I had two little kids that were not in public school yet. So I had to have a babysitter or put them in daycare, but there were two of them. So I got a babysitter. She basically took my every check from Sherpani. That was
Yeah,
for her.
because that's
And then
really expensive.
very expensive. And then I also, the rest of my income was from my job as a medical secretary. I went back to doing that for 2 years just because I needed to do something. And then I would do the art in my studio. Like I would get up at 5 a.m. and do it. I would paint.
You're a very brave human being.
Oh my God. You're so kind. I was also just, it was just really scary, but I did it.
You
I'm
did it.
so glad. And then I left. I left that job. I left. That was
How
a big
old
deal.
are your kids now?
I'm so glad you weren't going to ask how old I am, although we know now. But my kids are, oh, they're 18. My daughter's 18 and my son is 16.
Oh, wow. Do they live with you in North Carolina?
Yeah, they've lived with me the whole time. They actually do go to France sometimes, but they live with me. And we moved here in when they were in first and second grade.
Oh, so you've lived there for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been here for
Okay,
a while.
so tell me the story. So okay, so you start a gallery with the
Yeah,
other woman on Long Island, but eventually you leave.
I know it's tragic. Well, I was sad to leave Long Island, but anyone who's from New York, Long Island, we all know how expensive it is there. It's
It's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a single mom, even with my Sherpani check and you know having my other job that I did leave, none of it was sustainable for me. I had to be in a place where I could afford to live without being so stressed out about money that I couldn't make my art because I was committed to doing that. So we actually moved. We moved to Asheville. My friend Melissa from 10 Women, she lived here. So she helped me. She like found the rental and she was so welcoming. And I just thought that's mostly why I chose Asheville because I have my good friend here and she made it easy for me to come.
Well, and it's a mecca for artists.
It is. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what was happening. I was so
Wait,
stressed out.
what? You didn't know that going into it?
No, I didn't know there was a River Arts District. I didn't know anything. I just knew my friend lived here and she loved it. And she was like, there are festivals here, Cathy. Look at these festivals. I'm like, I don't care, but I'm fine. I'll go. And
Okay, that is so wild because I love where I live, but I do
Mhm.
think like if I ever had to move, if I ever like wanted to get out of the frigid tundra that is Cleveland, like I would want to live in North Carolina and I would
I'm
want to
sorry.
live in Asheville.
It's wonderful. It really is a fun place to live. There's so
Okay,
much
so
cool stuff going on. Yeah.
so tell me, okay, so you're like I can't afford this Long Island thing. This is
Yeah.
crazy. I'm
Yeah.
going to move to North Carolina. I'm going to go where
Yep.
my friend Melissa is who used to live in LA, which is also very expensive. So
Yep.
she moves to Asheville. Is it actually more affordable to live in North Carolina?
It was when we got here, which was 2014. Yep, it was definitely more affordable than where we were in New York. But since then, I think it's changed. It's really grown. The one great thing was that I was able to buy a house. So I moved here. I did move here with my boyfriend Jay. So he's an artist as well. He's a musician. So this was not a matter of like one of us is paying the bills. This is not the case. Like both of us were struggling artists. And he, I think when we got the loan for our house, I don't, did I had a co-sign for him, which is ridiculous as we were both getting this together, this loan. So we weren't like hugely wealthy at the time. but we did manage to buy a house and in Asheville, and that was hugely helpful. Yes.
That's amazing. I'm telling you, you really are brave.
Thank you. That makes
Well,
me feel good.
yeah, you're a role model for artists
Oh,
everywhere because you chose yourself and you chose your art and
yeah.
you said, I'm just going to make it work and I'm going to be brave and I'm not going to wimp out on this.
I yes. And honestly, I do think that if I had any advice to give artists, it would be to be brave in your art and in your life.
So
That's was yeah.
tell me how you developed into the artist that we all know today because you have
Yeah.
such a distinctive style. You are one in a billion. Anyone who
Aw,
knows you and sees your art knows that it's your art. So how did that end up happening?
that's so cool. Thank you for saying that. Well, it really it was sort of like an amalgam of all this stuff that I had experienced. Even my love of quilting comes through in my art. My love of studying quilting. I don't actually quilt, but like the idea that I was interested in it, it came about it was during COVID when everybody was wearing a mask and people were so gloomy. I went into two things happened. One, I went into a beautiful flower shop called Flora here in Asheville. It's so gorgeous. And I had a cup of tea and I bought some flowers and I started to draw them. I was like, gosh, that was so fun. I kind of got back to that same meditative mindset as my life drawing classes when I was in New York and when I was younger. That that feeling of getting lost in the process. But at that time I was doing encaustic paintings, which were these really labor intensive things with fumes. I had to wear a mask. You had to have it ventilated. Like I'd be painting in January with the garage door open. I couldn't get a studio because it wasn't ventilated. Nothing, you had to have a specific kind of a place. So there were a lot of things that were not good about the encaustic medium. And so I combined the feeling of loving the flowers with deciding that I didn't want to be cloistered away with this encumbrances of the encaustic medium. And I thought to myself, I asked myself, is it okay if I just paint flowers now? And I wasn't painting flowers, truly wasn't. I was painting like little encaustic scenes with people and different things. And I decided I'm just going to go with what I feel. And I thought that was a really brave decision because I had a lot of clients that collected my work, the encaustic work, and it wasn't going to happen anymore because I wasn't going to do it. So I changed to mixed media. And at first, I started by painting 44 flower portraits for I made a flower medicine deck, which is an oracle deck.
Really? Can we buy it like on a website?
Please, please do.
Where how do we get it?
It's on my website,
Oh my God, what's your
cathynichols.com.
website?
cathynichols.com.
All right, I'm going there this afternoon and getting your flower
So
deck. I
sweet.
love
Thank
collecting
you.
decks.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So yeah, I'm like, well, if I want to paint flowers, what better way? Why don't I make a deck? It'll give me something to do. It's nice to have a goal and a series to do to focus your energy. So I did 44 flower portraits, made the flower medicine oracle deck, and then I kind of melded my encaustic style with this love of flowers, but without the beeswax. And that's how my new style was born. It came through there.
Okay,
Was
so
it?
you're saying because I remember you mentioning in the encaustic there was collage.
Yes, yes, there
So
was.
you took out the wax part of
Mhm.
it, but you
Yes.
still had the layers of
Yes.
collage, the color, and now
Mhm.
you're instead of focusing on people, you're focusing on nature.
Yes, nature and flowers, exactly.
You
It's
do a
because
lot of
that's
birds.
yes. Because that's what I was feeling really drawn to at the time, just simple, organic prettiness. It just felt fulfilling during that time. So I just went with that. And that's kind of how this new medium came out. And also, I mean, media for me, style. Also, I was feeling like so free without the beeswax and the mask, the respirator mask that I had to wear doing it, that I found myself kind of like dancing around the studio and like throwing paint around and like being really playful with the whole thing. And so my style incorporated that energy too. So that was the other evolution. It's just freeing myself up to play, helped bring that about.
So at the point where I know who you are because we're both on Instagram together,
Yeah,
your style that I know and love was already very well developed by the point where I was like, "Oh, okay, I know who that is."
probably. Yeah. By that,
Did you develop that style and then years later go, "I should start an Instagram account?" Or are
no.
you one of those people who had been on Instagram since 2011
Yeah.
and then you just you keep it going, you keep it going, and your style is morphing and morphing and morphing?
Yeah. It's more like that. But I think I joined in 2015. That's when I joined Instagram because I moved to my house. So 2015. So it took 5 years. So you would see if you look on my Instagram, if you go all the way back, you definitely, I think you still see the encaustic stuff right at the very bottom.
Oh, I'm
I have
excited
not,
'cause
I
I
need to
love.
cull that thing. Goodness
No,
gracious.
don't do it. I One of my favorite things to do with artists that I love, and I'm shocked that I never did it with you because I would remember, is I love going it takes a long time to do it, but I scroll all the way back to when they started their Instagram account,
My
and I look
gosh.
at their development as an artist because I learn a lot when I see how other people developed.
Ooh, I love, all right. I'll keep it just for you.
No,
Just
you
for you,
have to
Wendy.
keep it. It's such I please do not please artists do not get rid of your history because it's so important, these histories, because it
Mhm.
shows people that you didn't just show up
Right.
one day and create freaking masterpieces. You start
Seriously.
somewhere and and this is so important to me. It's like a mission that I have of
Hmm.
showing people that as long as you just show up, this is why this is called show up or shut up. But as long as you show up and you keep making art and if you need to take classes like I do, you keep taking classes. But if you keep making art and you keep making art, something miraculous happens.
It's true. I mean, it is true. And I love that this is your mission. And I want to help you with your mission somehow because I love it so much. And it's the truth. And it doesn't matter if you're starting when you're really young or if you're retired and you're starting. You have your whole, life ahead of you.
Yep.
Whatever you have of your life now, you have it. Because I mean, especially for you're retired, you have more time than when you were younger.
So much
And
more time.
yes, and you don't have those responsibilities that will hold you back. Like, I couldn't paint all the time because I had my little babies to take care of and I had to go to my jobs to pay the bills. And it was very, very stressful financially. So I had to break up that time. But if you have that time stretched in front of you, I would say just be with your art and don't expect it to look like somebody else's art. Don't expect it to look like a masterpiece when you first start, but like stay with it. Just like you're saying, you stay with it. You see what calls to you also. I have always listened to that. That's been important.
I
What is
agree that that's
calling?
super important is
Yeah.
listen to what calls to you. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that always is on my mind about Fodder School and the way we run it is basically you're kind of getting what calls to me, Wendy Solganic, Willa Wonders, or whatever. You're getting that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when you sign up for Fodder School and you have, a month of Fodder Challenge now and 11 more months of full classes content, it doesn't mean that those 11 teachers are going to call to you. Maybe two of them do, maybe five of them do. If you're super curious like I am, you could learn from everyone. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care who the artist is, I can learn from that person. But not
Mhm.
everybody feels called to learn from everybody else. So the thing about Fodder School is it is priced so that nobody should have any sense of guilt
Mhm.
about not doing the whole year. Like, if you like Cathy Nichols art and you like one other artist that's in the Fodder School 5 package, you are going to get tremendous value from the experience
I
of Fodder School. And yeah, doing what calls to you, like following your nose and saying, "Ooh, I like that. Let me try that. Ooh, maybe next month or next 2 months, you're like, I see something else that's calling to me." It develops into something.
I love that. I love what you're saying. It's like a tapestry that gets woven together, led by what you love. So, like, if you're in Fodder School and you like three of the artists, you like gravitate toward what they're doing. And so you're going to take something away from those artists based on what it is that you're drawn to in those artists. And you're going to pull it into your tapestry that you're weaving, which is your own expression. And you're just getting inspired by these other artists' processes or imagery or personalities, whatever it is going to inform the artist that you become. The goal isn't to like become that person. The goal is to like let that person teach you something to help you become more of yourself.
That's
So
exactly right. That is
yeah.
exactly right. That's like a quotable thing right there. I'm
Yay.
gonna have to I'm gonna have to pull that quote out.
Oh,
That
please
is
do. Finally, I'll be quoted saying something.
So one of the things I want to go back to is the quilting thing. So I always know because there's like an inner knowing
Hmm.
that there's certain things that like I can't exit this planet without learning. And one of those things for whatever reason for me now is I want to learn how to quilt. I've never done it before, and I don't think that the time is right now, but I think, like, when I quote unquote retire, like, I would love to learn quilting. So you also are drawn to quilting.
I am.
I'm curious about why you're drawn to quilting, and I'll tell you why I'm drawn to it, but what is your experience with quilting?
You asked the best questions, and honestly, you just went right to something so important to me. So, for me, the this love of quilting, it truly began. Well, I have adored the look of textiles for my whole life. I've just been drawn to how interesting and beautiful they are. But the concept of quilting, I'm drawn to it as a metaphor, basically, for life. And for me, when I was in high school, we moved away from New York and all of my friends and my whole life because my mom moved away and I never got to go back necessarily to live there until much later, just by chance. But so I always felt this sense of like being uprooted and feeling like I was kind of like leaving scraps of behind the people that I loved and the relationships I had. And I always wanted to put them back together. And just, I was like, there's got to be a way to sew these different stories of my life together again. And the quilt just kept coming back as a metaphor. And I was really drawn to it. And my paintings, like the under layer of my paintings actually it looks like a quilt. Like if you were to look at it without the painting on top, it's like a quilt of different scraps. So it's come through. It just comes through naturally because emotionally I'm drawn to that metaphor, I think.
That makes sense. A lot of collage is, you could say, is a version of just quilting with paper. It's
Hmm.
much simpler than actually quilting, but there is that element of bringing disparate elements together and weaving them into one story.
Yes. And were you going to share what your interest in quilting is and why you're drawn to it?
Well, so I love textiles. I love surface pattern design.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I see
love,
that.
like, going to a fabric store and pulling together different fabrics to make, like, one story. Like, I have a lot
Mm.
of I'm sitting in our we have a library in our house, and I'm, like, looking at the fabric that I chose for the curtains in this room, and, like, I think I got these curtains way over 10 years ago, and I've never stopped loving looking at them. It
Oh.
just has this really cool, almost like Indian inspired pattern on them. And like, I want to block print my own fabrics and make, so I mix in some certain way, like making my own textiles with my own colors, my own stamps that I
Oh
create,
my God.
and then making like one of a kind quilts, but I don't know how to do the quilting. I mean, I don't think I think I'm perfectly capable of it. I love using a sewing machine. So I just think that, like, maybe not now, maybe not in the next 5 years, but if I'm lucky enough to live that long, like maybe in 5 years I would maybe go to a quilting class somewhere or take quilting
Mm.
classes online, and it would have to be something where like I was really done with a lot of my like working, because right now I
Yeah.
work like a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm building this studio. So I mentioned to you before we turn this on that I'm building a studio in my home. And like it's for the first time ever, like I'm actually going to have space to do something like quilting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've never
Wendy.
actually had like a real art space before.
Oh my gosh. You must be so excited thinking about your art space. And
I'm ridiculously
oh
excited.
my gosh. And then, okay, I just have to mention this other thing that when you were talking, it reminded me of another thing that contributed to my own style, but also is relevant for your journey, which is that I went to India right before I came up with this new style. I went to India with Alina Hennessy. I was her assistant on a trip. We went to Rajasthan. So
Wow.
yeah, it's like that home of fabric block printing, those gorgeous block prints from India. That's where they make them.
That is
So
so cool. I am obsessed with like Indian block printing
oh,
and
I'm sure. Yes.
textiles.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a wonderful place to go for inspiration. And I think it's interesting that my style changed. It wasn't anything that I sought out. It was just really a fluke that I went to India. That's another tale. It came through osmosis, I think. Just like this thing where you just kind of follow the stuff that you want to say yes to,
Yeah.
and it will come through for you. So,
So, okay, I have a lot more questions now. I'm not letting you go. So, we're going to talk. Okay. One of the things I cannot forget to ask everybody, and I think this is going to tie in. It's like it happened perfectly.
aw,
So, I want to know everyone's color story. That's the
yes.
theme of the Fodder Challenge. That's bringing
Mm.
it all together is why those colors?
Oh
Why
my
are those
God.
colors showing up in your work at this time? And I know that for everyone, there's an emotional answer to this.
Oh, you're so insightful and intuitive, and to even have this as a question.
Well, it's
And when you,
not random. Like people are drawn to specific colors for very specific reasons. So
yeah,
you use the rainbow, but you use the vibrant. It's like you use
yeah,
the full saturation without a lot of desaturation.
well,
What
that's
is the
not true.
story? What is the story of how you came to this color vibe that you have?
Well, I wanted to say what's so interesting is that I actually use neutrals. I do. I use a whole bunch of neutrals, and that's what makes the colors pop.
Yes.
So I do, it looks like my art is like really full saturation, but it's just that only the very top poppy layer is full saturation. The other ones are really muted. And this is something I would definitely am talking about when in my Fodder School lesson for Fodder School 5, by the way. But these colors and are inspired by my grandmother Rose, who I totally, when I think about her and I think about where she lived, like her house and her apartment, she had a house in Long Island, she had an apartment in Florida, like a lot of grandmas. She her apartment in Florida was like really, really cool because my grandma had a lot of vintage looking things. They weren't like wood. It wasn't like a vintage wood thing. It was more like of the 50s, kind of like 50s era things and like oriental rugs and almost, yeah, mid century modern. That was the look. However, layered on top of that, she had this pop neon vibe. It all went together though, which I thought was, I don't know how it happened, but it looked really beautiful. And her house, she had this one beautiful light fixture that was all neon, like hot pink, hot orange, and fluorescent turquoise. And it just to me was the most beautiful thing ever. Her apartment I thought was the most beautiful place. And I loved her so much. And she always, always believed in me as an artist and told me I should be an artist for my whole life. Even when I wasn't going to art school or planning, she was like, Cathy, you're an artist. So I think my color story is really based on my grandma and her sense of home decor, believe it or not.
Well, this makes so much sense to me. So, first, I want to know where was Grandma Rose born?
Grandma Rose was born maybe in Brooklyn, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Definitely in New York. I'm sorry. I feel so bad that I don't remember
Well,
where
I
she
can
was
help you
born.
find out because we can look her up on the ancestry and we'll find out exactly
Oh, goody.
where she was born. So, you think she was born in the United States?
Oh, definitely. She was born in the US. She lived in, I know they lived in Jamaica, Jamaica States, like Queens. They grew up, she was there. My mom grew up there. And then they moved to Huntington, Long Island.
I was also very influenced by my grandmother
Oh,
and
yeah,
her sense of color, which was also inspired by like the colors that were popular when they were decorating their homes.
totally. Yeah. And my grandma, that's why it was weird that she had the 50s look. And then she also had, like, I guess it would be considered 70s or 80s, like that pop with the rainbow. She had
Yeah,
an
and the
actual,
florals, like the flower power colors.
yeah, she had a rainbow painted over one wall of her apartment. And then she had this couch with these sparkle cushions with also faux fur white cushions.
So
And
she
she had,
was she was like she was definitely like I don't know if she worked in the design industry, but it sounds like she had a designer inside of her.
I think she did. She had a designer inside of her. This house was cool. And it was this weird combination because then she also had this like Japanese art and Japanese prints. And it honestly, it all went together. I know it sounds strange, but this is like my art, which is weird. Like I have a lot of that influence in there too.
So what I think I'm gonna find, and this is gonna be kind of funny, but I hadn't when we embarked on this project, this idea that I was gonna ask everybody like where did they get their color vibe from?
Yeah.
I had a feeling because based on my own like why am I attracted to the colors I'm attracted to? I had a feeling that this was gonna bring up for people these relationships in their
Mhm.
life, the people that they've loved, the places that they've loved, like from their childhood. And you're the first person that I'm interviewing in this series. And you're basically giving me exactly what I imagined, which was a person and a place.
Oh,
And it's like
wow.
you're trying to recapture
Yes.
that I'm gonna cry
I
that
know.
relationship, like, that
Hmm.
we lose, and it's like, we can't ever get it back, but we could, like, use those colors in our art, and on some deep, deep psychological level, it's like, we just want that person
And
and that
that
place.
place. That
Yes.
person, we want them back. We want that sense of safety and
Yes.
just that sense of love. That's where it comes from. Oh, that is where it comes from. Just
Okay,
wanting
so
to go
there
back.
you have it. You're artist number 1 that I've interviewed in this series, and that is where you got that's why
Yeah.
you use those colors because 'cause you're
Yeah.
trying to just recapture that, and you probably love those colors. You have,
Yeah.
like, deep affection for those colors.
I do. Like, I will use luminous rose opera, and it's my grandma's fluorescent light. You know, it's just the celadon green is the celadon dishware that she had. It's just really interesting. And the melon color that I love so much is her wallpaper. I see all these colors, and yeah, because I loved being there. That's why I used to go to visit her. And she lived in Florida, and I would go there every spring break, and it was the most peaceful experience, just by the ocean and just in this peaceful little apartment with grandma.
Could you hear the ocean in
Yes,
her apartment?
yes, it was right there. You could hear the ocean. It
That's
was on
really
the ocean.
powerful.
It was cool,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Wow.
Mhm. Going back to the yeah, these peak sort of love and joyful experiences, they do come through. It's like what we want to share with the world. It's nice to be able to lead with that because then I feel like you're putting that back into the world somehow for others.
Okay, I have
Yeah.
this other funny story that I'm just gonna drop right here. So if you could pick a color that is like your least favorite color or a color that at some point in your life you are like, "Ugh, I do not like that color." Could you identify a color that you at one point did not like?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh my goodness. I think there's one color coming to mind, so I'm just going to go with it, even though I don't actually dislike it now. Well, it's like a maroon. I'm really not into maroon, but I don't hate it now. It's actually very pretty as a color. If you put some hot pink next to it, it looks good. And I
That's
don't just,
interesting. Do you know why? Do you have an association with that color?
I think I actually do.
What is it?
Interesting. Well, there was this weird red, where was this carpeting? There was like Oh yeah. When we first moved into my house and it was like in the early 80s and we had gotten this house and they had all this red shag carpeting, kind of like maroony red, and it was so gross. And we pulled it all up and the decor was black, white, and red, which I found it disgusting. Like as a child. There was nothing bad though that happened in that house. I loved that house.
But it was
That was the
gross carpet that needed to be pulled up.
replaced. That's what I think of when I think of that color. And we got rid of it. So we built our memories of that house without that carpet. So that was thrown to the wayside.
So
So I don't
I think that we're all going to have like even not just the artists I interview, but everyone who listens to this are going to
yeah.
have really interesting stories that come up about favorite colors and least favorite colors. I would never have thought to ask anyone about least favorite colors, but when I took design, so after I graduated law school, I actually went back to art school and I took design, and one of the questions that the design teacher asked us, he was a phenomenal teacher. He said, "What is your least favorite color?" And I had to think about it. And then he had us make a project using our least
Ooh,
favorite color.
the
And
horror.
I do not remember.
I blocked it out.
I do not remember what the project was, but I knew immediately what my least favorite color was. I know why it was my least favorite color, but the interesting thing is, as the decades have gone by, this color has come more and more into fashion. And I've grown to actually love this color. And now I actually think that in my future art studio that's being built, like I might actually want to have like a small wall painted in this color.
Okay, Wendy, what is this color? I need to
So
know.
it's like a weird tint of blue green. I'd have to like I use it in my work all the time now. It's a blue green with white in it. So it's like
Okay.
it's not a pastel. It's still a very bold color. In some ways it's kind of like a jade green.
Ooh.
And I used to not like it because there was actually a family in my neighborhood. I loved the family, but they had painted their house this super weird color for a house. It's kind of a house you
Wow.
might see like in the Caribbean. But I lived in suburban New Jersey, like outside of New York City. And like this house color, it did not belong in like suburbia in New Jersey. It was so unusual. And I just remember, like, in the neighborhood, just always thinking about why did they paint the house that weird blue-green color? It stood out like a sore thumb.
That makes sense. It just assaulted your sense of
It
design.
assaulted my sense of design,
You're like,
yes.
"Why would you put this here?"
Well,
No, it
why
was
would you paint the
wrong.
exterior of your house that color? It's kind of funny. Now, like,
Funny.
now I really love the color and I love exploring the color because there's so many versions of like blue-green with a little
Yeah.
white in it. Okay, so tell me about what your art life is like now. Like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Are you selling paintings? What's going on?
Oh my gosh. Well, I did lose my studio in Hurricane Elaine, so I don't have a studio at the moment. I have a studio in my house, but it's like really small. We would call it my bedroom, Wendy. And so I get out of bed and I'm at work, which is nice. And I am definitely selling paintings. I paint all the time. I sell the paintings a lot.
Wait,
And
you go
I'm
back up to I lost my studio in the hurricane. So everyone
yes,
probably knows, because I can't imagine anybody does not know
that missed that story. Yeah,
that there was a major, major tragedy in Asheville, North Carolina. So did you have a beautiful studio outside your home prior to the hurricane?
I did.
What was that like?
It was really pretty, honestly. And it was in this place called Riverview Station. And it was big. I had big area to do large paintings. I had beautiful display of my work. I sold also like merchandise there. I had just put the lights in, done beautiful lights. I had lights before, but it was just really pretty, airy space. And people would come through a lot that were visiting Asheville. And it was a nice community as well. And so that was a big loss. But like all of these changes, there's much to be learned, I think. It's been interesting. I've been hesitant, very hesitant to find a new studio space. Like there are options that have been presented to me for sure. I'm lucky about with that, but I've said no every time. So I don't know why I'm saying no necessarily. I think I'm just really happy to be, I'm in this stage maybe as a bud. I'm ready to bloom again I think I'm in a sense of transformation right now. So I'm doing all of these paintings. I love creating them. I just started a new art journal, a very similar to the one I started when I first decided I wanted to be an artist, where I'm really putting in a lot of experimental work. So I'm working on that and I'm at the point where I'm kind of dedicated to that and I want to see where that goes. So we'll have to see. I also teach classes. Of course, I teach online classes. I'm so excited to teach at Fodder School and I teach my own classes as well.
Do you ever teach
And
live in-person classes?
well, I do. So I teach at retreats. I have done smaller workshops too, but like local, but mostly I do retreats. I have several coming up in France in 2026 and I'm doing two in the US this year, one in Connecticut and one in Lake Santilla in South Carolina. So pretty.
So by the time this airs, it's going to be approximately August, September. So will those retreats have already happened?
Should I say 2025 or is it what
Yeah,
year?
it's 2025. August and September of 2025 are when people are going to
Oh,
first hear this.
no, they won't. Actually, the first two will. The US ones will have already been finished, but the French ones are in July of 2026.
Oh,
And
so
so
that's
they're,
going to be something that people could
yes, they can absolutely still
still sign up for. Maybe
sign
if
up for,
not
hopefully,
not full.
maybe if it's
Yeah.
not full, but they might still be open. And one cool thing is that one of the workshops in France is with Kate Sidney, the jeweler that I started Firefly with.
Wow.
And she's amazing. We both
Where
developed and grown.
where in France
It's in
is it?
Perigord, France, so at Perigord Retreats. This adorable, lovely place run by the nicest couple ever, and it's just a wonderful place with the best food in the world.
Is it
That
couple American, French?
they're French and British. The wife is French and the husband is British, and she's in charge of the cooking. She has a staff too, but she creates the recipes. They're seriously amazing. So it's like worth it if you just like food.
That's so cool. Do they also
Yeah.
teach cooking classes while people are there?
That's a good question. She might actually, by that time, be doing it. She does teach. She doesn't teach cooking at the moment. I'm sorry, there's the cutest cardinal sitting right out of my window. I can't believe how cute this thing is. Sorry. I'm
No, that's
distracted by this
okay. That's
bird, of
okay. My
course.
mother always said when like the Cardinals come or the Blue Jays come, it's like your
Oh,
ancestors.
oh, that love your mom. That's so sweet. Yes. So, yeah, but you go, they don't teach cooking, but they take you on tours. They bring us all on these different tours to see gorgeous areas and architecture. And then we do painting, and they have a big studio that they just built. So it's a great place.
Do you have to bring supplies with you or do they have everything there that everybody needs?
Some of the supplies are there, but you do bring some with you as well. Yeah,
That's
I bring
really
a lot of stuff with me for to share.
And what's the maximum capacity? Like how many people can participate in a French retreat?
That's a good question because it used to be about 12, but they have a new studio they're building. I think it might be 18 now. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a wonderful place. So if it's not sold out, please join us. It's a great place.
I can't imagine you'll have any trouble selling them out.
Thank you. I'm just sort of in my little chrysalis right now, painting paintings and doing retreats and teaching online and also doing my new art journal, which I'm in love with doing right now. That's
Do
like my new favorite
you
thing.
do you ever put photographs from your art journal on your Instagram page?
I have. I just put one up. I just did a time lapse. It's up there, Wendy, right now.
I think does it involve a girl?
Yeah. That's from my art journal. And I'm just doing all of these. Oh gosh. I don't want to. Well, I can tell you now because this isn't airing until long after my Joy of Painting class comes out on this, but that is from I'm doing timed painting. So this is something I discovered. It's extremely freeing. That was a 30-minute painting and I'm just timing everything's 30 minutes.
I cannot believe you did this in 30 minutes. That's
I
crazy.
It's really really cool. So that's my new experiment. I'm working on that right now. Is timed painting. And right now I'm doing 30 minutes, but if I take it big, I'm of course there'll be more than 30 minutes, but I'm going to try to keep them very short and see. It's interesting to see how it changes your brain and the way that you think about making art.
So you are going back to your roots in a way. Like you're keeping the whole vibe of you, but
Yeah.
you're going back to bringing the human image into it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, I think right now, as we speak in real time, I don't know what's going to happen by the time that people hear this episode because right
Because
now
who knows?
yeah, it's in the formative stages. So I'm just allowing myself to be creative in this art journal. And I'm going to see how it marries with my current style and informs it. And hopefully, by the time people are listening to this episode and meeting me at Fodder School, that will have come to fruition. And we'll see. Like, that's in the future.
It's
Yeah.
in the future. I mean, your work is so exciting, and
Aw.
I love seeing something new. It's just very exciting from you.
Aw, thank you, Wendy. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. It's been,
Very exciting. Okay,
yeah.
all right. So we've been on for a while.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Time flies when you're having fun. Is there anything else that you want to tell people before we call this a win?
Yeah. Thank you. I think I do. I think something is calling to me, something I kind of mentioned before, but really, I think it's just really important to know that that the art you're going to make, it's inside of you waiting to be born. And yeah, take classes and learn, and you're going to see it come out. But I would be kind of wary of taking something that's like beyond belief out of your budget. And you know what I mean? Like something that's kind of like pie in the sky that promises you that this is going to be the thing that changes you into a like fabulously successful artist overnight.
I
I'm
know what you're
really,
talking about.
I, you probably do because you're very intuitive. And
I know.
that bothers me because I feel like that's not how it happens, not in my experience. And I think I think it's really important to be gentle with yourself and just trust it's already there. You know what you're doing. And follow follow your interests without worrying that you have to like give up your retirement fund in order to grow. So,
I agree with that. There's so many good affordable art classes
yes.
out there, and if you just keep creating and you keep creating and you keep creating without getting sucked in by like false promises of
Yes.
fame and fortune with
Yeah.
art, and you just go and have fun, and
Yeah.
everyone who I attract into this orbit is looking to just enjoy themselves with art. It's
Yes.
purposefully in no way attracting people who
No.
have, grandiose thoughts about having their art in a museum.
Right, I know, right?
I've
And
met
I mean,
people
if
like
they
that.
and honestly, that's why it was so easy to say yes to you when you asked me about Fodder School because it felt like you were really encouraging people to delve into their creativity for the sake of creativity. I love that that's your focus. And I think people who take Fodder School actually are more likely to be in a museum than, because you're actually learning to be inspired. You're learning from so many different people. And you're going to develop based on exposure to a whole bunch of different artists. And
You're
that's going
definitely
to,
gonna have fun.
yeah, well, yes, yes, you are going to have fun. It's fun. It like when I look at the different classes and I see the art from Fodder School, I'm like, oh, it just looks lush. And just like, I want to dive in to the color and the pattern and the fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fodder School 5 is truly gonna be epic. There's no
Yay.
doubt in my mind because the team of people, like, I can't believe that everybody said yes. The team of people who said yes, it's extraordinary. So I'm so happy that you said yes. Like,
Me too.
honestly, I never ever imagined in a million years you would say yes. You're kind of like the artist that I would consider to be like a big reach. And I'm
Oh,
so thrilled that you said yes. And I can't wait to learn from you. And I can't wait to grow as an artist because I get to learn from you. So I really want to thank you profusely. Thank you for
oh,
coming on this podcast. Thank you for sharing your life story with us. I
oh my
really
God. Oh my gosh, Wendy, thank you. Thank you for all of your kindness and your beautiful questions, for giving us this space for all of us to just delve into our creativity with joy and without judgment and just really delving in there. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I look forward to meeting everyone in Fodder School and just seeing everyone's work and seeing all of this expansive creativity happening. I can't wait. Excited.
It feels far away now, but time flies.
I know. Excited about it.
Flies.
It's
All
been
right.
such
Thank
a
you so
joy.
much for coming
Thank
on. I'll
you.
talk to you soon.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
Bye, Wendy. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Show Up or Shut Up podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast and leave a rating and review. And once again, you can find me, Wendy, and free gifts for newsletter subscribers, online classes with me and many other incredible instructors, my blog, and everything else at willawanders.com and on Instagram at willa.wanders. Talk to you soon. Until then, stay curious and keep making.